Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Let's talk about all the horror movies I've watched recently. April was another banger month for horror movies. I can barely keep up, you guys. I already have like a full list of 10 to 11 movies that are on my best of list already. So let's dive into some of the movies that I saw this month and which ones were my favorite. The first movie I watched this month was Mute Witness, which is currently streaming on Shudder. This movie is from 1995 and it's a mystery, horror, suspense, thriller slash action comedy mashup. It's a bunch of different things in one and it is so good. This movie centers on a mute woman who is working in the movie industry with her sister and her sister's director boyfriend. They're over in Russia and they are on a movie set making this weird thriller movie, and one night the sister who's mute has to go back and get something in the building and she accidentally gets locked inside. And while she's there, she witnesses something horrific that changes the trajectory of the rest of her stay in this country. And she is going on a crazy, insane journey. First of all, the first 30 minutes of this movie are so intense. It's a cat and mouse game and the lead actress is so good. And it's so scary because she can't hear anything and she's relying on her other senses to get her around this building. It's just insane. She is so stealthy and just resourceful in this first half of the movie. It is so good. I could not breathe. Then it becomes something completely different and there's just so much going on in this movie that they've crammed into like an hour and a half, and it just never gets old and it's just so fun and exciting to watch. The lead is fantastic all the way through. I loved that she just is so endearing to watch. A lot of great characters in this, and I love that a lot of the Russian dialogue that's happening in the movie isn't subtitled, so you have absolutely no idea what they're saying, and that kind of gives you even more of a terrifying feeling because, like the main character, you have no idea what's going on. I think this one is very unexpected, and I think if you like 90s thrillers, like something from Brian De Palma, you'll like this one, and I highly recommend you check it out. Then I revisited Nightwatch from 1997. This one stars Ewan McGregor as a night watchman in a morgue, and while he's there, there's a series of unsolved murders happening around the city, and soon he starts to become a suspect for these murders. This one is really interesting. It's actually a remake, which I just found out while I was doing this rewatch, because the original is going to have a sequel premiering on Shudder later in May. This one, I don't know how it compares to the original because I haven't seen it. I think it's made from the same director, which is interesting. I think the characters are fun to watch. It's sleazy at times. Patricia Arquette is also in this as Ewan McGregor's girlfriend, and she's really sweet and charming, and I love her on screen. And it just goes a little crazy and bonkers towards the end. I love the morgue setting so much. If you give me a morgue setting, I will watch it. I will read about it. Everything that I want is in a mortuary setting. So that's just what drew me to this, and I'm like, I think it could be fun to be a night watchman in a mortuary. But obviously not if there's a series of murders going on. I don't think it's that good. Obvious who the killer is when you're watching the movie, but it's still fun. I watched this on Hoopla, which is free. And I watched Death Becomes Her for the first time, and this movie is so much fun. It's from Robert Zemeckis, and it stars Goldie Hawn and Bruce Willis and Meryl Streep. And they're kind of like, Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn play frenemies, best friends turned frenemies, and they're kind of competing with each other through most of their lives. And when Goldie Hawn introduces Meryl Streep's character to her fiance, played by Bruce Willis, Meryl Streep's character steals her away. And then Goldie Hawn's character sets out to get revenge. And the movie takes an interesting turn because these characters are so focused on youth and remaining young and beautiful that they will go at great lengths to get that, even if it means terrifying consequences. This one is silly and over the top. The performances are fantastic by everyone. It is just such a fun, entertaining movie. And I think that it's very relevant today in the world where we're still so obsessed with beauty and youth, especially with social media. So it just feels very timely or timeless, and I really liked it. Then I watched The First Omen, which I did a full review of. I really liked this movie. It's a prequel to The Omen, and it centers on a nun who heads to Rome to get her nunhood on. I don't know what it's called when they do that, but While she's there, she uncovers a conspiracy happening by the church, and they may be set out to birth the Antichrist in order to get people back to the church. This one is directed by a woman, and you can tell it feels very much centered on female fears. It's about losing control of your body, having others control what they want to do with your body. It's about birth and reproduction, and there's some really intense moments in this. The atmosphere is beautiful, the direction, everything is just so stunning to look at, and the lead performance by Nell Tiger-Free is just incredible. Then I saw Abigail, which I also did a full review for. Absolutely love this movie. I think it's so much fun. If you like Ready or Not, you'll love this movie. It's from the same team, and it centers on a group of criminals who unknowingly kidnap a ballerina vampire. The movie is just bonkers. It's filled with so much blood, laughs, and gore. It's just a blast, and I think it's super rewatchable. Did think it was a little bit long. It could have been shortened a bit, but overall I think it was really fun. Then I finally checked out Late Night with the Devil, which I reviewed, and it's no surprise here. I love found footage horror movies, and I absolutely loved this one. It is very much a mockumentary style horror movie like Ghost Watch or the WNUF Halloween special. It centers on a late night variety show that is hosting a Halloween special, and they decide to bring out a young possessed girl and perform an exorcism, and things go wrong. I loved everything about this. The aesthetic of this movie is just, it's everything I love. It's 70s aesthetic. I love that it plays out like the actual episode of the late night talk show. It almost feels real, like an actual show, and the lead actor, played by David Dastmalchian, he's fantastic. He comes off so genuine and authentic, and you truly believe him as this late night host. And the little girl who plays Lily, the possessed girl, is creepy as hell. She stares at you through the movie, like looks directly into the camera, staring down your soul, and it just made me so uneasy. And I think it has great special effects, really cool moments, and I think it has a batshit crazy ending. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's going to become an annual Halloween watch for me. It's currently on Shudder. Then I checked out The Coffee Table, which is a movie that's currently going around TikTok as being one of the most disturbing horror movies ever. Newsflash, it's not. It deals with disturbing subject matter that might be a little bit too difficult for some people to watch, especially parents who are sensitive to stuff dealing with children, because this movie does deal with some horrific stuff towards a child. However, the movie is not graphic in any way. The story centers on a couple who are bickering over this ugly coffee table. The husband decides to buy it, they bring it home, and the couple have a fight again. They're going through a lot because they're new parents, and the wife decides she's gonna go to the store because they have company coming over later. She asks the husband to watch the baby, and then things go crazy from there. I think that this movie is described or labeled as a horror comedy on Amazon, which is weird. I don't think it's super funny. I think the idea of what's happening is like that weird, oh, that's funny, but not like funny haha. I don't know how to, because it's not funny. But the situation just keeps getting worse and worse over the course of the movie, that you can kind of see the humor in it, but it's just intense what's happened, because it's one specific thing that's happened and how this person chooses to deal with it over the course of the movie, and how it just keeps meatballing out of control. But it's just really uncomfortable. The performances are fantastic. The dread is so powerful, and just the character's performance, it's very understated, but you can feel so uneasy. You can feel his guilt through the screen, and I think that is really fantastic. But a lot of it is psychological. It's not in your face gore, blood, guts, and some people have said it's something you've never seen before, and I agree. It's not what I was expecting. I was expecting something different. But I think the way people are hyping it up, that's why I was expecting something a lot different. I think it's a really good movie. Is it the most disturbing movie I've ever watched? No. I think Irreversible still is the most disturbing for me. I mean, honestly, there's a lot. There's a lot that are more disturbing than this movie. I had to buy it on Amazon for like $9, so I do recommend it. I think it's worth watching. Then I checked out The Stranger on Hulu. So this was originally a Quibi original, which is a platform that is now dead. And this was essentially, I guess they had like little 8-minute episodes, and there were like 10 of them or something, but the person who made the movie essentially bought it back from Quibi and re-edited it into a full-length movie that is now currently on Hulu. It stars Micah Monroe as a LA transplant who is trying to make some cash by becoming an Uber driver, and she picks up this stranger at this beautiful house. He's played by Dane DeHaan, and while they're in the car, he tells her that he's killed everybody inside. And then the rest of the movie is her trying to get away from this guy. I think Micah Monroe, fantastic at everything she is in. If she hadn't been in this movie, I wouldn't have watched it. I wouldn't have finished it. I think Dane DeHaan is fantastic as the stranger, the criminal. He's so good at playing the bad guy. And I think that it starts off really strong, but it just kept going and becoming more and more ridiculous over the course of the movie. But I think I probably would have enjoyed it better in that short format, which is interesting to say. But I don't know, let me know if you've watched this one and what your thoughts are. Then I checked out Lowlifes, which is a new Tubi original that really shocked me because it's really good. So this one is filled with some twists I wasn't expecting. It has great performances and characters, and it was just so fun and entertaining. It's about this family. They're very like cookie cutter, all-American family. They're on a road trip in an RV, and they come across this group of kind of like hillbilly type folks, stereotypical hillbilly family, and then it goes crazy from there. And I don't want to say much because I don't want to spoil it, but it took me for a loop because there are so many moments in this where I was surprised at the direction it took. I think it's really fun. Some of the kills in it are really fun. It was so refreshing because it took a trope or situation that we all know in the horror genre and flipped it on its head. Then I revisited The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which is one of my favorite horror movies ever. I love it so much. I can rewatch it all the time, and it just gets better with every rewatch. So it was on Joe Bob's last drive-in special. It was their like witch night, and they had the people who wrote the movie on, which was really cool because you got to hear about how they actually wrote the movie, what their mindset was, what they envisioned for the story, and just some of those behind the scenes stuff. And they also had a producer on the show. So it was a really great episode. I learned a lot about the movie. Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch are fantastic as this father-son duo who were performing this autopsy on this Jane Doe in order to get the cause of death for the police by the morning, and then it goes crazy. I love the reveal and discovery of what Jane has been through and where she's from. So good. The atmosphere, I just love the setting. Andre Overdahl, I just love him. He knows how to create those good vibes in a horror movie. Those gothic-y, dark, damp vibes that make you uncomfortable. And this one is one of my favorites of all time. I love it so much. It's the perfect rainy day fall watch. Then I ended off the month with Infested, which is currently streaming on Shudder, and this is another one I absolutely loved. And it centered on this guy, this kid, who likes to collect exotic species, and he keeps them in his apartment. And he buys this spider, this rare spider that he knows nothing about from this seller who sells weird shit, and he brings the spider home, and unfortunately the spider gets loose and has babies, and then the apartment building gets infested. And then you follow as he and the group of people he's closest to, his sister, his friends, her friends, try to escape, and they also try to get the other people in the apartment building out. It's very much got a Wreck vibe and almost like an Attack on the Block vibe, where this group of people in this apartment setting, they've lived in this apartment building for years. Like, they grew up there, they know everybody. Everybody in this apartment building is like family to them. And I love that vibe, that you feel like you're actually watching people who actually know each other. I think that all of these characters feel genuine and authentic, and I connected with them so hard. Like, there's so much heart in this movie in between all the spider stuff, and the spider stuff is incredible. They use a mix of real spiders and CGI spiders, and the CGI, I couldn't even tell. It's so good, and there's so many moments that I jumped because the spiders are jumping, they're moving quickly, and you know when you try to kill a spider or bug and it like jumps. There's so many moments like that that got me jumping and squirming in my seat. And the movie is just like non-stop. Once the spider action picks up, it does not let up until the very end. And it was just so entertaining and thrilling, and you're like rooting for these people to get through this apartment building, and it just keeps getting worse, and the spiders just keep getting bigger, and they just did a fantastic job with it, where I was scared, and I'm not even that terrified of spiders, but This one, the spiders in this are really creepy, and the way they move, and they're poisonous, and they can infect people like zombies, and they lay eggs inside people. It's so gross and creepy, but it was so fun, and I am so excited for this director to now go on to make some of the Evil Dead movies. He's gonna do great, because this movie, he takes this contained setting and this group of people that are dealing with this horrifying situation and how they navigate through it. I feel like he's got it. He's got this in the bag. It's gonna be so much fun. And there you have it. Those are all the horror movies I've watched recently. A lot of good ones. I can't believe like this is only April, now into May. Last year, I think I only had like one movie on my favorites list, which was like Evil Dead Rise. This year, I have so many that I've loved. Let me know what movies you've checked out recently. If you watched any of the movies I talked about, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time. Bye.